Now, let's talk about the challenges of meditation. The number one challenge that I often hear that keeps people from meditating is rooted in a fixed mindset. And I'm going to dispel that fixed mindset for you once and for all. So you might be out there thinking, my mind is a mess. It is always on overdrive. I always have thoughts. I cannot silence my mind for the life of me. And that's why I cannot meditate. Let me tell you, that is completely nonsense. Meditation is not about silencing the mind. As I said earlier in the video, meditation is more akin to mental cultivation. Now, it is completely normal for the mind to wander, even when we're sitting down and we tell ourselves that we're trying to meditate. If we sit down, we close our eyes, and we focus on the breath for like 5 seconds, and then the thought comes in, oh, what am I gonna have for lunch? That's completely fine. You're still meditating as long as after you have that thought, you notice yourself having that thought and then you bring it back to the breath. That entire process is part of meditation. 5 years into the practice, almost daily, and I almost never go a single meditation session without my mind wandering, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes of meditation. So at least for mindfulness meditation, that point where we notice when our mind starts to wander, as we keep on meditating, we'll be able to get better at catching ourselves when our minds wander, and we'll train that again and again until eventually our mind will wander less, we'll be more stable, we'll have more clarity, and life will be fantastic. So meditation is a skill that we can all get better at over time. Anyone who says they cannot meditate does not understand what it actually entails. So the solution to this challenge is very easy. Change your understanding of meditation. And if you've listened to me for the past couple of minutes, you're good. You're ready to start meditating. And challenge number 2, the benefits of meditation sometimes don't kick in immediately. So there is often a drop-off, I feel, of starting meditation and the point where you experience like that really profound amount of benefits, and in between, people will drop off in this area. And I guess it's okay if you drop off at this point if there's really not much that you want out of meditation in the first place. But if you do really want to experience these benefits, then I think it is worthwhile to wait it out and trust the process. So usually people stick with meditation if they experience some meaningful benefit while they were practicing. While immediate benefits can happen after meditation, like feeling relaxed, feeling calm, it doesn't always happen in this way. And sometimes to really reap the fruit, you need to wait for it to grow. And also for lasting changes in the brain specifically, I think it does make sense to really have a need to keep at it until the neural circuitry is used to activating in the way that it does when you meditate, until a lasting change biologically, like physically, is made. We can look at it this way, like if you've had anxiety for your entire life and your brain has been conditioned to kind of undertake these thought patterns, and this causes you to become anxious. This has been built up over years and years of your life. And of course, it would take some time to undo that conditioning and be free from that anxiety. Especially if the way we deal with these problems like anxiety is to distract ourselves by getting on our phones and not listening to our thoughts. When we meditate for the first time, it's like entering a world that you're not familiar with. It's like going to a new country that maybe you don't speak the language of. It really takes time to really get to know our body and our thoughts in an intimate way that is, I think, quite necessary to really experience the profound benefits that meditation can offer you. So the solution for this problem is to just trust in the process. It may take time to experience the benefits, yes. But if you start to devote a little bit of time to the practice, maybe just 5 minutes a day, then you might see that your life can start to become better. And once you really experience these benefits, then the practice will kind of carry itself over because you'll know how helpful it can be. Challenge number 3 is boredom. If you meditated before, you can be honest. Do you find it fun? I think the answer is probably no. While meditation is useful, I'm not sure if most people would call it fun, and I think that's okay. I think, sitting still in probably a position which is not extremely comfortable and focusing on the breath for 10, 20, 30 minutes is probably not the most exciting thing in the world. And I get it. I think this challenge is a little bit more tricky than maybe the first challenge, but there are 3 potential solutions that I can suggest to you. The first solution is to switch it up. There's different types of meditations that you can do. There's like mindfulness of breath one day, maybe another day you could do loving kindness meditation, another day you could do open awareness meditation, there's walking meditation, and there's just informal meditation practices where you're just mindfully washing the dishes and not listening to anything that will distract you, something like that. But this is something that I do when I'm on retreats, especially because like it's basically 24 hours, there's no one to talk to, no phone to use, no books to read, and all I can do is meditate. So what do I do then? Like, I switch it up. I do loving kindness, do mindfulness of breath, and I do like a cycle of each one, and it becomes less stale. It's a little bit fresh, your mind is a little bit more stimulated, so maybe this is something you could try. Solution number 2 is using apps. And this is something that I don't really use personally, but if you are new to meditation, or if you find that when you sit alone and try to meditate alone in a quiet room, then it gets a little bit too boring for you, maybe an app could be useful, because I think apps definitely do make meditation more accessible and more engaging at times. Most apps have meditation teachers that you could listen to as they guide you through meditations, or if they just talk about like the philosophy of meditation. I tried apps like Calm. Calm I think is pretty good. A little bit of bias here, but I would recommend the Healthy Minds program. I do work for Center for Healthy Minds, which is associated with the HMP app. So a little bit of bias, I admit, but it breaks down attaining well-being through meditation to 4 distinct aspects, and it takes you through all of these 4 aspects and guides you through, explains through all of it in a way that's super accessible. So I would recommend anyone who wants to try meditation to check out Healthy Minds program. It's also in Singapore for those of you back home. And it's honestly pretty legit, like it has hundreds of thousands of users. Solution number 3 is guided meditation. And all the apps have guided meditations, of course, but guided meditations are so accessible. You could go on YouTube. I have some guided meditations if you want to check them out. You can go on Spotify even, and you know, sometimes you might not know if you're meditating properly. You might just want some more support in your meditation practice, especially when you're first starting out. That makes complete sense. So guided meditation could be the way to go for you. The 4th and final challenge I want to talk about is sticking to a routine. And there are a lot of habits that we'd like to incorporate into our lives, so maybe talking about it here in the context of meditation can help you transfer to these other habits too. But you know it, I know it, developing a habit is not so easy. Even for me, like even though I keep talking about meditation and about like how it's been so good for my life, I don't even meditate every day sometimes. And that's also not because I tell myself that I don't need to meditate every day. Like I actually strive to meditate every day, but I get lost on my phone, I get lost on Instagram, on YouTube, and I just feel like, you know what? I'm feeling good, I don't need to meditate. I think I'm just gonna give it a pass today. And this happened several times, and what's very sinister about these good days where I don't need to meditate is that they kind of snowball. I don't meditate one day, next day comes, I'd be like, you know what? I'm too busy, I'm not gonna meditate again. And then 2 days becomes 3 days, and then on that 3rd day I become emotionally vulnerable because I don't have that protective clarity that meditation gives me. That sense of objectivity and acceptance towards anything that comes my way in life, that kinda isn't there if I don't meditate for 2-3 days in a row. So on those days where I don't meditate for a long period of time, I'm super vulnerable. Something bad happens, something distresses me, and it really hits me hard. And honestly, most of the time when I was hit hard emotionally over the past few years is when I haven't meditated for maybe 2 or 3 days. And then because I'm feeling emotionally affected, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down to meditate no matter what I have to do. Like I have to prioritize meditation. So I sit down, I meditate, all's good. After like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I feel this protective clarity coming back again. I feel calm, and then I think to myself all the time, almost without fail, why did I put myself in this situation? Why did I go without meditation for 2 or 3 days? And then why do I have to feel like shit every time to keep my meditation routine going? Like there is a simple solution to these problems that I've experienced, and that is to meditate every day. For most of these problems at least. And maybe it might not be different. It might be different for you, but for me that's the case. And there's a brilliant Zen saying that you should meditate for 1 hour a day. And if you don't have time, meditate for 2 hours a day. And like most Zen sayings, that might not make sense to you the first time you hear it, or even second or third time you hear it. But basically my interpretation of it is that no matter what, meditation should be a priority. And if you ever try to convince yourself that meditation is not a priority, that's when your priorities are all out of whack. The first possible solution to helping you build a meditation routine is to create a dedicated space just for meditation. And I think I learned this from Atomic Habits by the author James Clear. Basically this applies to a lot of other things, not just meditation. If you want something to be done habitually, then you should have a dedicated space for it and don't do anything else in that dedicated space. For example, if I have a meditation cushion in the corner of my room, I do not go there to scroll on Instagram, because when I sit there, I know it is time for meditation, not for Instagram. And honestly, with routines, I think at least for the first few times, you really just have to do it. And the most important time to do something is when you don't want to do it, especially when you want to incorporate it into a new routine. And for solution number 2, I kind of want to talk about a paper that I recently read, and it talked about what makes meditation practitioners stick with their practice. And one of those factors was to speak with a meditation teacher. When you speak with a meditation teacher, that makes things a lot more clear for you and makes things more relatable and digestible for you. And hopefully that would inspire you, motivate you to build that into your routine. And the other things that help meditation stick is, of course, the perceived effect of meditation. If you experience a lot of benefit from the practice, then there's a higher likelihood that you will stick with the practice. And I think I could be a case of that. When I first started meditating online, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is not helping. And when I went to the retreat, I was like, okay, boom, this is my life from now on. Some other things, let me read them out to you. There were perceived barriers to meditation. So meditation apps could help with that, for example. Higher conscientiousness, that's interesting. Higher well-being, higher growth mindset, there you go. And retreat experience. Yeah, if you go on a retreat, you'll probably stick with the practice, and there's a pretty high likelihood that you will have a routine on your own, and it won't be too hard to stick with that routine. So maybe that's the solution, just go to a retreat. So these were some general learnings from my 5 years of meditation experience. I'd love to make other videos about what I've learned through my insights. Honestly, would love to make those videos. I would love to make other videos as well, but it would be a great help if you're at this point. Just like stop for a minute, scroll down and click subscribe. Drop a comment if you have any thoughts, whether they be positive or negative. Just put them in there. It'll help the algorithm, and it'll help me too, knowing what to improve on. So yeah, please stay tuned. I hope to see you soon.